In this video, we're going to talk about why girls test you and how to pass any test. So first of all, to put this all into context, the way that sexual attraction works is that a girl needs to feel that she is in your frame as a man in order to be attracted to you. What this basically means is that she needs to be more concerned about you and your opinions and what you think about her than you are about what she thinks about you. And when you interact with her, she needs to feel that she's being drawn into your world and basically start seeing things from your overall perspective. So for example, if you are nervous talking to a girl, or if you feel like she's judging you, or if you feel that you need to impress her or live up to her standards, all of these are examples of you reacting to or trying to fit into her frame. And this happens basically because on an unconscious, instinctive level, you are afraid of her negative judgment and the possible social consequences that might come as a result of interacting with her. Whereas if you are confident when you talk to her and you have strong eye contact, and you can freely express yourself and have an influence over her emotions, then it communicates to her on an unconscious level that you are not suppressed or shut down by the fear of her social world or other guys who might be interested in her. And because of this, she feels that you have higher status in relation to her. So basically, without getting too overly complicated, your confidence when you interact with her is the most foundational element when it comes to attraction. And she can feel this on a very basic instinctive level, even within a split second of making eye contact with you. But the thing is that this is relatively easy to do on a surface level, especially if she's being nice to you and giving you some sort of validation, then that in itself can make you feel good and feel more confident when you talk to her. So in order to see what you're really made of, she has to test you and see whether or not you really are what you're presenting yourself to be. So when she does this, first of all, it actually means that she's interested in you, but she's just testing your frame to see whether your confidence can hold up to scrutiny. Or in other words, she's testing to see whether you do truly have a stronger frame than she does, or if you're just feeding off of her validation or some sort of social momentum or whatever. So at some point in the interaction, she will push back and test your frame. And this can happen in many different ways. For example, she might give you shit tests, which are basically like little insulting comments. Or maybe you'll express an opinion about something and she'll challenge your opinion. Or maybe she'll just ignore you or remove her attention from you or something like that. Basically, in one way or another, she's removing her validation or putting opposing judgment and pressure on you. And if this affects you and you start reacting to her frame, then she will immediately lose any attraction to you because it's revealed to her that, oh, you actually aren't so confident after all. And in fact, you have lower status in relation to her overall social world. But on the other hand, if you can pass these tests, then it reaffirms your frame and reaffirms the fact that she is within your frame. And with each test that you pass through, she will fall deeper into your frame, which leads to a deeper and deeper connection all the way until you have sex with her, which is like the ultimate surrender of her frame to yours. Basically, when it comes to success with women, the entire thing can be broiled down to passing tests. That's it. Like passing tests as you spend time with her and move things towards sex. And even beyond that, with relationships, the tests will continue and they can even become very emotional. And in some cases, they can even get very ugly. And this is also very much related to everything that we're talking about, but we'll save that for another video. For now, we're more interested in the tests that come earlier on when you meet her and when you're dating. So how do you actually pass these tests? The answer is very simple, by actually not being affected by them. There's no trick to pass these tests. You just simply need the inner emotional strength and the strength of frame in relation to her to actually be unaffected by them. So for example, if she says something and it triggers some sort of insecurity and you feel an emotional blow like a punch to the solar plexus, and it weakens you and drains your energy and confidence, at that point, the battle is already lost, and there's nothing you can really say or do to make up for it. Anything that you say at that point is going to be expressed through your weakened state, and she can feel that. There's no way to cover it up or anything like that. And usually it's not even possible to try and cover it up anyways, because it will sort of like scatter your consciousness and make it so you can't think of a good response, and maybe you'll start becoming defensive, or in one way or another, you'll start reacting to her frame and her line of reasoning, where basically she wins the frame battle. And when this happens, she will immediately lose all attraction and interest in you right then and there. I remember one time recently, I met a girl, and I forget what we were talking about, but she said something about her dad, and I was just kind of joking around, and I said, 10% of people's fathers are not their real father, sort of implying that maybe her dad wasn't actually her real father. And then she said very seriously, like, no, he's definitely my dad. We have the same nose. And in the moment, I just couldn't really think of a reply and turn things around so that she would see things from my perspective. So I basically fell into her frame and started following her lead in the conversation. And then a few seconds later, she abruptly said, like, it was nice to meet you, but I really gotta go, and left. So right after I failed that test, she immediately lost interest and didn't even want to keep talking with me at all. And this is where all of these battles are won or lost, is on an emotional level, which affects your energy and your ability to think clearly and everything like that. So the point is that you don't even need to worry about trying to know what to say or how to pass these tests in advance. If you have the strength to actually be unaffected and not care, then you'll naturally be able to pass the tests in the moment without any real effort. You might not even notice that there are any tests because it doesn't affect you, so it just seems like part of the interaction. And if she actually does test you in a more obvious kind of way, you might even think that it's like funny, and it can become just a sort of playful thing. So that's basically the answer. You need the strength to not be affected by the test in order to pass it. And when you do, you'll be able to pass it naturally in the moment whenever something comes up. And sometimes it might be a bit more complicated than this and involve a bit more drama, where maybe she gets upset or angry and you have to calm down the situation and turn her emotions around. And I could give a bunch of examples of this, but again, just like with what I mentioned about relationships, that's kind of going beyond the scope of this video. For now, I just want to give the basics and keep things simple. But that being said, no matter if it's the kind of like basic test that we've been talking about or something involving more drama and emotions, basically, success with women boils down to passing tests. And in order to pass tests, you need to have the inner strength and confidence to be able to handle them. And if you constantly go through tests like this, through meeting girls and dating and relationships, then you will build up that kind of strength, just like building a muscle, where something that might affect you now will not affect you in the future. This is actually the secret key to getting better with girls and being able to date hotter girls over time. If you want much more in-depth, step-by-step training to build up this kind of confidence and skills with women, then just click on the link in the description. And other than that, I will talk to you in the next video.